everyone, Mom Mike here, and today's a quick video. This is my video game backlog, so let's get right into it. I feel like we've all experienced that gamer guilt. There are so many fantastic games being released what feels like all the time, and who has enough time to actually play all of them? So this is about the games that we've purchased but maybe haven't gotten to yet. So starting off, I'm going to go through these by console. So starting off for the Nintendo Switch, I have got Shining Resonance Refrain, and this is one that's pretty recent, so I don't feel too bad about this one yet. I don't feel awful that I haven't gotten a chance to play it. If you follow my channel, I've mentioned before how I sort of work through my backlog in a systematic way. I try to play games by console, so I'll play a Switch game, a 3DS game, a Vita game, you know, PlayStation game, an Xbox game, and so on. I try to rotate through the console so that I'm playing them evenly, and on top of that though, I do also rotate through genre. So maybe if I play a really long JRPG, I'm not going to play another one just because I'm switching to a new console. I'm going to try and play a different type of game on that next console. So I do have a system with how I try to get through these games, but we'll see how effective it is based on how many of these I have. Because next up for Switch, we have got Octopath Traveler, which I feel so guilty about not having played yet. I was absolutely enamored with this game from the moment that the first teaser trailer came out. I knew that this was a game I had to play. I played a little bit of the demo and was completely enchanted by it. I loved every second of it. And I even purchased the Storybook Collector's Edition, which has like a pop-up book. It's wicked cool. I did an unboxing of that if you're interested. But I haven't yet gotten to this game. I've just been playing a lot of really long story games, and this one, every time I come around to start a new Switch game, I'm not in the mood for a really long story experience. But I believe this will be the next title that I play on Switch. Once I finish Fallen Legion Rise to Glory, I think this will be next in line. Moving on to the 3DS titles, we have got Dragon Quest VIII Journey of the Cursed King. This is one that part of why I feel guilty that I haven't played this yet is that it was a Christmas gift last year, but I did receive multiple games that Christmas, including Bravely Second, which is a game I sunk a ton of time into. That was in the What I'm Playing videos for many months before I finally threw in the towel after about 50 hours of playing that game. I finally said I have to move on to something else, and so I haven't yet gotten to this title, but I do believe it'll be the next thing that I play on 3DS. Next for 3DS, we have got Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology. This is the launch edition of the game, so it includes an art book, a decal sheet, and the game, of course. I was really stoked to pick this up. This is a remake of a DS game that I had missed out on. Atlas did quite a few of these, and I thought that was really cool that they were taking some of their DS titles and putting them on 3DS, with including this one has additional content, so it's not just a remaster even, it actually has more to the game than the original one did. But once again, I have not gotten a chance to play this yet. And next up, we've got some Wii U titles, which I know, how far back am I that I'm including Wii U games I haven't got a chance to play. But firstly, we have got Xenoblade Chronicles X. Again, just a wicked long game that I know is fantastic. I have heard amazing things about this title, but I just haven't taken the time to play it. Additionally though, my Wii U is currently out, but it is not currently plugged in, so if I want to play it, I do have to kind of unplug something else in order to use it. It is out, not like my 360, which is currently packed away because I simply just don't have enough room to have that out as well. But Wii U is out, just not plugged in. The second title for Wii U is Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE, a game that was recommended to me by a subscriber. I picked it up when it was on sale because it can be a little bit hard to find, and of course you know me, I love physical copies of games, so I absolutely had to snag this one. The gameplay really enticed me. I watched videos about it, but I just haven't taken the time to plug in the Wii U and play it. I should also note for this video, I'm not including any of the PlayStation 2 or GameCube games that I've been collecting recently. Those games are, for the most part, ones that I've never experienced before, so it would drag this video out for far too long. And I also just don't have a great setup right now for retro gaming. If I want to play the PS2 or GameCube, I have to bring them out, plug them in. It usually involves unplugging something else in order to play them. In the future, when I have a new place, I would really like to have like retro console corner and just have a place where I can always have those consoles plugged in and ready to play. And at that point I would be able to much easier play those games and move through that backlog. But I'm not including those in this video because as of right now it's just difficult to play those. I kind of wanted to focus on more recent releases or on consoles that I can actively play. Moving on to PlayStation, we're going to start with PlayStation Vita, starting off with Persona 4 Golden. Originally I had the goal of playing this game before Persona 5 came out. I did not end up doing that, and Persona 5 was indeed the first Persona game that I ever played. It was a phenomenal game. I absolutely loved that experience. I still get the music stuck in my head from time to time. That game is just a masterpiece. So I definitely want to go back and play Persona 4 Golden. I've heard so many fantastic things about this game, but as I mentioned, the way that I rotate through consoles and through genres, I play a fair amount of JRPGs, I play a good amount of games that have long stories, and sometimes I get back to my Vita and I just want to play something shorter, especially visual novels. I play a lot of those. The next one that I have in line is Hakuki Ito Blossoms. This is the follow-up to Hakuki Kyoto Winds, which is also on Vita. I had recently played the amazing Shinsengumi Heroes in Love on Nintendo Switch, which is a game that uses the same characters, but it's a completely separate storyline from these two games. So while I just played that visual novel, it did get me really thinking about this one, and I do believe this will be the game that I play next when I'm back to my Vita. Moving on to PlayStation 3, starting off with One Piece Unlimited World Red. This has been in my backlog for a little bit longer than I'd like to admit. Every time I go to pick up a PlayStation 3 game, I see this one, I think about it, but I never end up picking it. So I believe this should be the next thing I play on PS3. But after that, we have got some Yakuza titles, including Yakuza 3 and Yakuza 4. I picked both of these up on eBay. These are reprints of the game. Of course, though, with all of the remasters and remakes that are happening, I might not actually end up playing these specifically. If they announce a remake of 3 and 4 that's going to be on PlayStation 4, then I'll totally wait and play it that way. Still happy to have these in the collection, of course, because I love the Yakuza games. But I'm not sure. I'm gonna wait and see if there's any announcements about these games before I go ahead and play them on PS3. Next up, another Hakuki game. This is Hakuki Stories of the Shinsengumi. This one is basically Ito Blossoms and Kyoto Winds all together in one game, so without the story being broken up. There are some other slight differences throughout, so I haven't played this yet, partly because I already kind of know the story. I thought it would be fun though to play it on console. I've never played a visual novel on a main console. I've only ever played them on handhelds like Switch or Vita or 3DS, so I've never actually played one on PlayStation 3. So that's part of why I picked this up. It was also super cheap, and yes, I was gonna say I believe this one was complete, which was really part of the draw for me. Just look how pretty it is with all the purple. It had the manual in here, it had some other insert. What do we got? Oh, this is an advertisement for some other games that are available. But I love this series. I really like the characters that are in the games, and I just thought, oh my goodness, seeing this at GameStop with the manual and everything included, I just had to have it. Reading the back of this, I remembered the main difference is that in this version of the game, you have got 6 bachelors. In Hakuki Kyoto Winds and Ito Blossoms, you have got 12 bachelors vying for your affection. So while it follows the same storyline, the other games have more options, and there will be slight differences between these titles, especially with 6 additional storylines in the PlayStation Vita titles. Moving on to PlayStation 4, starting off with PSVR games. So PSVR is something that I really enjoy, but it's not the easiest thing for me to use with my current setup. I don't have a very big living room, so some games are just difficult to play. Things like Job Simulator are relatively easy and work pretty well, but other titles that involve you to move around just really aren't possible with my current setup. So currently Finally, I have got Farpoint, which uses the aim controller. This one is on the back burner. I picked this up as part of the aim controller bundle because it was on sale for an excellent price and it was a little bit hard to find, so I was really stoked to see that in GameStop and just couldn't leave without it. And then additionally, this one isn't even opened yet, but this is the Invisible Hours, and this was also on sale at GameStop. Couldn't pass it up. It was cheaper to get the physical copy than it was to get the digital copy of the game. And you know me, how much I love collecting physical games, so I couldn't leave the store without it. But PlayStation VR is something that I have set up all the time. It's always plugged in and ready to use. It's just a little bit difficult and I'm a bit limited with what games I can play. So I will pick up games on sale or that I see at a great deal, but I might not be able to play them right away just because of my current setup not being the best. Moving into PlayStation 4 games, so starting off, this is Yakuza Ishin. This game I picked up at PAX East last year. It is completely in Japanese. There is absolutely no English, titles or even menu options in this game. So this is one that there are English guides available that will walk you through the game, even walking you through the menus of just how to actually start the game. But it's something that's going to be a pretty big undertaking in terms of time because I'll basically be watching the cutscenes on the television but reading the dialogue on my computer so I can follow along. So while I think it's awesome that somebody took all the time to do that, I primarily bought this just for the collection because I thought it was wicked cool. It is definitely possible to play it and I will try to in the future, but just because of the time undertaking, I'm not sure when I'm going to get to that. I do just want to show, oh, it's fighting me. I do just want to show the inside of this though because the manual and the game looked pretty sweet. This was a really awesome find at PAX. I definitely didn't want to leave it behind. It's just something that's going to take a little bit of extra effort to play. These next two games are pretty recent releases, so I don't feel too guilty about not playing them yet. Starting off with Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age. I know that this game is going to have a wicked long story. This is just an absolutely massive game to complete, and so I definitely want to play it soon, but between Red Dead Redemption 2, that's just been taking all of my time, especially the online. I've gotten really into it, so I haven't been ready to start another big story game. Additionally, there's also Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom. I know, I can't believe I haven't started this game yet. I am so bummed out that I haven't played this. I don't know where my time has gone, but I would really like to play this before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out next year because that's going to be another massive story. Originally, I had the goal to try and play Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 before 3 came out, just to revisit them, get the story fresh in my mind again. I don't think that's gonna happen by any stretch of the imagination. So the real goal is Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom. I want to play this before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out next year, and that will be a huge time sink, I'm sure. Next up, we have got Dragon's Crown Pro, which I definitely just want to take out of the sleeve because this has the coolest case. Let me just slide that out of here. This is just so wicked cool. Look at the embossing and just the colors, the deep inky blacks, but then having the golds and the oranges. It's beautiful. This is one of my favorite cases. This is a game that I originally planned on playing couch co-op with my roommate, but they really weren't into it. They just didn't like it at all. And so I was kind of bummed out. I can definitely play this single player, and also with like remote play, I could play this on the Vita if I wanted to, but I just haven't gotten back to it. I'm still kind of bummed out that they didn't want to play it with me because I was really looking forward to a couch co-op game. Usually we really get into those together, so I'm a little bummed out still about this title. Haven't gotten back to it, but I will be getting back to this one soon. I might even count it as a Vita game when I'm back to my Vita rotation. Maybe I'll play it that way and enjoy it in handheld mode. Next up, we have got Secret of Mana. I knew right away that I wouldn't be getting to this game immediately, but I picked it up because the physical copy was a GameStop exclusive and I absolutely did not want to miss out on it, especially because my local store had it in stock, and sometimes that can be rare. My local store doesn't always have a ton of stock on things that are exclusive. They can sell out pretty quickly because I live in a relatively small area. So I did not want to miss out on getting a physical copy of this game, so I picked it up right away, even though I knew I wouldn't be getting to this game super quick. And lastly, for PS4, we have got Odin Sphere Life Racer, which I probably said wrong. I'm sorry, I'm sure I butchered it. I picked this up at GameStop and was so stoked when I found it because it was really difficult to get a copy of this game in my area. I ended up going to a GameStop that's about 35-40 minutes away from here, and when I got to the store, the associate said this was the first copy of the game that they'd seen in 8 months. So I was really stoked to have picked this up. I felt really lucky that I secured myself a physical copy of this game. It's another one though that it's just a bit of a lengthy game and I haven't really found the time to play it yet. And now moving on to Xbox, I do have a couple honorable mention, I'll say, 360 titles, because as I said earlier, I don't currently have a 360 that's hooked up. It is in the closet in the box. I just don't have enough room for all the consoles. Right now what I have out is a PS3, my Batman PS4, the Spider-Man PS4 Pro, the Xbox One X, I've got the Switch, and I've got the Wii U. That's what I have out currently, and as I mentioned, the Wii U is not currently plugged in. I have to do some rearranging. I did put away the 360 to make room for the Spider-Man PS4 Pro because I wanted to have both PlayStations out because they look really neat together to have the Batman and the Spider-Man ones. But I will say the 360, it's quick enough to hook up, and I thought these were some relatively recent pickups, so I wanted to mention these. Starting off with Tales of Vesperia. Part of why I picked this up is not only am I a big fan of the Tales games, the ones I've played were amazing and I just want to play more of them. So far I've played Tales of Hearts R on Vita, Tales of Graces F on PlayStation 3, and Tales of Berseria on PlayStation 4. But a big part of why I picked this up at GameStop was because not only was it super cheap, it was complete. It included the manual, and I love finding games with manuals in them. They're really hard for me to pass up. So this is one that once I have a new place and have got, more consoles hooked up, I definitely will be going back to the 360 to play that, as well as Eternal Sonata, which this is a homemade cover, obviously, that's why it kind of doesn't look that great, but it was better than the generic GameStop one I felt, so it's not quite the right size, but it was an improvement at least. But this is another one picked up on a really great sale at GameStop but haven't gotten to yet, as well as Enchanted Arms, which has an even kind of more worse cover. Just not quite the right size, but I didn't feel like reprinting it. It was an improvement over the original that I had got the game with, but I probably will be reprinting those at some point, make them a little bit prettier for the collection. And now for Xbox One games. So this one I only picked up about 2 weeks ago, so it's not even opened yet, but this is Adventure Time Finn and Jake Investigations. It was only $5 in the Walmart clearance section, so go check your local Walmart clearance. You can find some really great stuff in there. I was on my phone, so I thought, why not? I'll just check real quick, see if this game is any good. It looked like a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Pirates of the Enchiridion, so playing another Adventure Time game really enticed me. So this is a very recent pickup, so I don't feel too bad that I haven't played it yet. Next up though, we have got Okami HD, which I attempted to play, but it was kind of too soon after playing one of the Yakuza titles. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but those games involve a fair amount of reading because they're totally subtitled, they're voiced in Japanese. And so playing this game, which has a really long intro and it's a lot of reading, my roommate and I kind of looked at each other and said, not today. And then we just kind of haven't gotten back to it. So this is one that, knowing in advance that it requires a fair amount of reading, I'll be ready for it next time, but lately I just haven't been up to play a game like that involves a lot of reading. Next up we have got Vampire, relatively recent pickup, so I don't feel too guilty about this one. The story on this is shorter than some of the other games in my backlog. I think How Long to Beat had it at about 20 hours at the most, so it's definitely something manageable that I think I'll be able to start pretty soon. Next up we have got Monster Hunter Worlds, which is also still sealed. This is another one I picked up at an insane sale at GameStop. Couldn't leave the store without it. I know I'll play it eventually, so I thought, why not get it at a wicked low price? Instead of waiting till I want to play the game and maybe the price has gone up, I'll pick it up now when it's insanely cheap, and I'll get to it eventually. And last on the list is We Happy Few, another pretty recent pickup, so I don't feel too guilty about this one. This is a game that I was super excited for when it was announced, but with all the delays, there was delay after delay. I ended up completely missing the release date. I didn't even realize that this game was out. So I picked this one up for Xbox One. I will be trying to fit this in probably alongside Ni no Kuni 2, leading up to, Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out. Maybe I'll try and play this alongside Revenant Kingdom, fit those games in. It's a very busy time to be a gamer. There's just so many great things coming out. And of course, with the holidays here, if you're expecting to get any games as gifts, those will probably be getting added to the backlog as well. But if you're like me and you enjoy collecting the games as much as you enjoy playing them, sometimes having a backlog isn't such a bad thing. Going through this list, it's clear to me that most of my backlog is on PlayStation consoles. I'm definitely more of an Xbox gamer. I play my Xbox One a fair amount more than my PlayStation 4, so I definitely have less games on that console that I need to get to. But additionally, with PlayStation VR not being the best for my current setup, that definitely adds a couple games to my PlayStation pile. And I do play the Switch pretty heavily. That's a console I've been getting a lot of use out of, so I don't have a ton of games for that I've purchased and haven't even tried. Let me know in the comments below, what's your video game backlog like? Do you also have maybe one console primarily that you have a lot of games stacked up that you haven't had a chance to play yet? Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!